Toby, do you buy PayPal's explanation for this?
No, I don't. I think this is another example of people power, Mark. After it announced its new policy, whereby it was granting itself the right to help itself to $2,500 from its customers' accounts per violation. Not just, if you generally engaged in behavior PayPal disapproved of. It wasn't saying it would fine you 2,500, per week or per month for engaging in this kind of wrong think. No, per violation. So that caused, I think, widespread panic, understandably, amongst its customers. And over the weekend, boycott PayPal began trending on Twitter. People began to try and close their accounts and withdraw their deposits in droves. It was the digital equivalent of a run on the bank. And PayPal, facing catastrophe, did an immediate reverse ferret and said, oh no, we only released that update to our acceptable use policy in error. But it tells you something, Mark, that things are so bad at PayPal and the actual explanation of what went on is so embarrassing that the cover story is that they released this in error. The cover story is that they are guilty of misinformation, which is precisely the sin they announced they were going to punish with these draconian fines. So God knows what's really going on, but it's embarrassing.
Well, we do know that you actually gave a sensible reaction to this, because when PayPal had their foot on your throat, and then the guy at PayPal says, OK, I'm going to take his foot off your throat, you said basically, well, I've got the message that these guys hate me and want to destroy me, and so I'm going to try and make alternative arrangements rather than just go trotting meekly back to PayPal. Once you're told that they're considering, as you say, this is for every offence, $2,500. So a guy like you who says something offensive like 8 times a day, by the end of the first week, you'd be $2 million in the hole or something. Why don't people get the message and actually say, OK, I've had enough of this evil company that hates me. I'm going to put it out of business.
Yeah, I think both of us would probably be bankrupt by the end of this segment, Mark, if they were fining people per violation. But yeah, I think it's very difficult to trust PayPal, given that it said this. I mean, it has rode back a bit, but not entirely. In the correction, it said that it wasn't going to fine people $2,500 if they promoted misinformation. It didn't say it wasn't going to fine them if they engaged in other kinds of wrong think, which are listed now in its acceptable use policy, including what was described as objectionable posts. No more detail than that, just objectionable. So it still has enormous latitude to simply help itself to your funds if you're foolish enough to leave any in your PayPal account. And I think the irony here is, Mark, that the woke CEO of PayPal, Dan Schulman, it won't surprise you to learn, was at Davos earlier this year, a guest of the World Economic Forum, and gave an interview on stage, the theme of which was what differentiates good companies from great companies is trust. And the way to earn customers' trust is not to produce a good service, an excellent product, but to promote social activism, to do what you can to create a better world, i.e. introduce policies like the one it just introduced. But actually, that's ended up destroying trust in the brand. And I think if you looked at PayPal's share price this morning, after trading opened in New York, it was down about 6%, i.e. about $5 billion in value was wiped off PayPal because people are beginning to lose trust in the company. And it's not surprising.
No, it's not surprising, because I don't know what I'm looking for in a bank manager, but a bank manager who'll only let me have my own money if I agree with him isn't part of the equation. You know, Toby, people sometimes talk about, the right is very good at opinion websites on the internet and news aggregators on the internet. But why doesn't the right figure out that all these people hate you and start up its own Facebook, its own PayPal, its own internet service providers?
Yeah, I mean, you often hear this argument that there could be just a market solution to this problem. The difficulty is that they are monopoly providers. It's very difficult to compete with these giant behemoths. In PayPal, for instance, is 8 times larger than its nearest competitor. And, even for people like me who have the kind of entrepreneurial flair to start up different news publishing sites like the Daily Skeptic, if PayPal decide overnight with no notice to deplatform you, it can cause serious harm to your business. And there isn't another equally well-trusted, or at least there wasn't, provider, payment processor who could perform the same service and attract like donations. So, it's all very well to say, well, just switch to another company. And that's what we've done. But they have such a monopoly in this market that it's quite difficult for any other company to compete.